Hey everyone, Bill Lowen here, sitting out in the boat, building jigs, going through things, getting ready for our next couple events on Kentucky Lake and Grand Lake. And like I said, I'm just out here going through jigs and thought it would be great to share with you guys basically all the jigs I use from LureParts online. I was using things from LureParts online before I was sponsored by them. They make a tremendous amount of great products, jig heads, that I want to share with you guys today. And I'm going to show you right here typically all the jigs that I carry in my boat for everyday tournament fishing. So let's get through this real quick and I'll show you what we got. We have swim jigs, flipping jigs, finesse jigs, goby style heads for tubes. Pretty much everything that you need for a day out on the lake, LureParts builds something to fit the occasion, okay? As you can see right here, this is my Bill Lowen Signature Series finesse jig. It's actually like a finesse flipping jig. As you can see, it's just a little small compact head with a really strong stout hook in it. That jig head is available in 5/16 and 7/16 ounce and a array of colors. You can see it's got green pumpkin with some orange on it, black, it's got a little bit of blue on it. Just a really good all-around finesse style flipping jig. I use that jig on a big flipping rod and 20-pound line, and I never have to worry about the hook, so that's not an issue, okay? If we move down here to the swim jig, it's my Bill Lowen Signature Series swim jig. As you can see, the swim jig's got a big eye on it. That's what I like in a swim jig, something that has a big eye on it. It's got a very strong stout hook in it. It's available in a 1/4 and a 3/8. The 3/8 is available with 2 different size hooks in it, okay, for you guys that like a bigger hook. Okay, this is our backstroke swim jig. This is the very first swim jig, what I call a true swim jig that I ever started to fish with. And everything that I've basically designed since then has come from this design. Like I said, this is our backstroke swim jig. Very first swim jig that I ever threw that I considered a true swim jig. So this is for me what started, my love for swim jig fishing. Like I said, that one's called the backstroke swim jig. You can see right here, we have a football head. This is the football head that I use when I'm fishing offshore, which is not very often, but when I do, this is the football head I like to use. 1/2 ounce, 3/8, we have it in 3/4. As you can see, it's got that really weird shaped hook in it. That's the hook I like. I know some guys don't like that. I feel like with this hook, you don't have to set the hook as hard. You just kind of got to sweep the rod and you get a really good solid hook up, okay? Like I said, that's our football head. Moving right along, back up here to the top, we have a round ball finesse jig. I know a tremendous amount of people all over the country like a round ball finesse jig. This jig head is available in a light wire and a heavy wire hook. As you can see, this is the light wire. 3/16, 5/16 are typically the sizes that I use. Like I said, that's our round ball. It's available in a light wire and a heavy wire hook, okay? This is our grass jig. It's got a really streamlined head, comes through the grass really good, got a strong hook in it. 1/4, 3/8, 1/2, 1 ounce, for them guys that like to punch deep into the grass. When that hydrilla gets grown up really tall, this is a perfect jig head for that situation, okay? One of my favorite things to do is flip a jig. And I know everybody out there that bass fishes loves flipping, loves catching them on a jig. This is our LureParts Online flipping jig, okay? As you can see, it is a traditional Arky style head. Look, let's face it, every jig head that's out there in the industry that is a flipping jig is a modified version of the Arky style flipping jig. And that's for a reason, because that jig head comes through the cover better than any other jig profile that there is. And as you can see here, we got 1/4, 3/8, 1/2, 3/4, even all the way up to 1 ounce for those of you that want a very big, heavy flipping jig. Like I said, that's the jig I use when I'm flipping. And like I said, this is all available from LureParts Online. This is our brush jig. A lot of guys call it a brush jig, a rock jig, whatever you want to call it. Kind of has a tendency to want to stand up a little bit when it's on the bottom. As you can see, that's also 1/4, 3/8, 1/2 ounce. And what I like about all the jig heads from LureParts Online, we pay really close attention to detail. As you can see, that jig head has a little wire keeper on it. A lot of guys like that little wire keeper. So you can see that's a really heavy, stout hook. We want to build things that the serious bass angler is going to want to use. Brand new for us this year is our subsonic jig head. I know you guys seen me talk about this a little earlier this year. It's our jig head that you can build underspins and things like that. As you can see, I got one built up here. You know, for early time in the year like now, when the water's not wanting to warm up and it's staying cold out, you need to get out there and fish deep, fish on the graph. You know, get over there and look on that hummingbird and drop straight down on them. This is a really good jig head for that, okay? As we keep moving on, you can see we also have, you know, swing head jigs. You know, you put your soft plastics on here, reel this on the bottom like a crankbait. It's been a very, very popular technique over the last few years. We have them in all the popular sizes, quarters, 3/8, halves. So if you're in the wobble head type jigs or swing head type jigs, definitely check these out from LureParts online. And you can see here I have a bunch of finesse style looking heads. You know, we have brand new for us this year as well as our goby head. Okay, for those of you on the Great Lakes, St. Lawrence River, Lake St. Clair that like to fish a tube, you know, the last few years the smallies have really started feeding on the gobies. And when you insert this head into a tube, it makes the head of that tube swell up to make it look like a goby. Okay, so this is a brand new head for us. Definitely going to be one you want to check out. As you can see, we've made the eye of the hook stick out of the jig a little longer, so it's going to make it easier to get through your tube, get it through the plastic, all right? Then we have your traditional style tube heads. You know, the heads like this are going to want to spiral on the fall, you know, so if you want to get a little bit different action, just try a little bit different head. All right, brand new also. We've always had a stickworm head, you know, for Ned rig type stuff, things like that, little finesse type jig head presentations. You know, it's got a little light wire guard on it to help keep that soft plastics on there. So what I've been wanting is I'd wanted one that maybe weighed a little heavier and had a little stronger hook in it, you know, so we could use it on a little bit heavier line, fish it out there in a little deeper water. So this is our brand new Gamakatsu hook, stickworm head. I believe it's available in 5/32 all the way up to a 5/16. So for those of you that are going to want to take that stickworm presentation and fish out there in a little deeper water, that jig head's going to allow you to do that, okay? Also, we have a wacky rig jig head. You know, this is a very popular, very finesse type presentation that gets a lot of bites and puts a lot of fish in the boat. So if you guys are into wacky rig fishing, this is definitely a jig head to check out as well, okay? Then a head that I've been talking a lot about the last couple years is my slip shad head. You know, this is a head that's designed for fishing swim baits, for putting a treble hook in the back of the swim bait. So those of you that are not familiar with this head, go to LureParts online and check out the slip shad head, okay? We got a lot of videos on there. It's going to show you how to fish it and show you exactly how effective it is, okay? Like I said, these are a lot of the jigs that I carry in the boat every week when we're out there on tour. And, you know, and one of the questions I get a lot is, and I know this might sound funny to a lot of you out there because a lot of you guys build your own jigs, but a lot of guys don't build their own jigs. A lot of guys just go to the store and buy them. And I get a lot of questions on, well, how hard is it to build a jig? You know, how hard is it to put a skirt on? How hard is it to maybe tie? And I try to explain to the people that it's not hard at all, okay? It's just simple. Call up LureParts online, pick your head you want, pick your skirt you want, okay? It's gonna come just like this. Buy 3 skirts, you can buy 5 skirts, you can buy 25 skirts, however many skirts you want. Simply buy the color skirt you want, decide what head you want, whether it be a finesse jig, a flipping jig, a round ball jig. When you get your products home, it's this simple. Take your skirt out of the pack, take your jig head, spread your skirt material apart a little bit, insert the tip of your hook right into the center of the rubber band, okay? Slide that jig up on there, and as you can see, just straighten up your silicone skirt a little bit. You have a perfect jig head, that simple, that fast. Looks like a jig that come right out of the package, okay? And then all you gotta do is simply take whatever type jig chunk you want. That just happens to be a Venom chunk. Since this is a finesse jig, I like to pin that through the top. And as you can see, in less than a minute, we've built a jig that's ready to go to the lake and ready to catch you some fish. So if you want to check out all these great products, go to LurePartsOnline.com.